Hello and welcome to a Heroes of Fandom opinion piece. I'm Boyo and today we'll be going over some of my personal tips on how to avoid getting salty in Smash Ultimate. For those of you who don't know, getting salty in a video game pretty much means getting mad or raging. This ranges from people to people. Some may just let out a big ol' curse word, but sometimes people have a tendency of letting it go too far. I'll admit, I've gotten a little heated over Smash Brothers in the past. So for this video, I wanted to share some of the ways that I got over being salty, and hopefully my perspective will help you if you're someone who is prone to taking losses a little too heavily. My first point of advice would be not to play when we're tired. This one's a bit of a no-brainer, but still, a lot of us play video games even if we should be sleeping. If we're tired, we're more likely to be cranky and our ability to play well will be hindered as well. This is a perfect recipe for mining the salt. I know this one can suck if you have a busy schedule. We wake up early, go to work or school, we get home, take care of responsibilities, and when we finally have times for ourselves, we're usually so tired that we just want to go to sleep. The problem is, once we do, it's only to wake up to the same process as the day before. We want to spend what little time we have to ourselves doing the things that we like to do. After all, sleep feels nice, but it does go by pretty quickly. So sometimes we forego a little bit of sleep to get in a little bit of Smash. Unfortunately, this backfires because sometimes when we're tired, we don't even get to fully enjoy the things that we're doing. If you have a tendency to rage over Smash Brothers and you're feeling tired, you will most likely lose, and it just isn't worth it. Number 2. It's just a game and you look ridiculous. Video games are supposed to be fun, and this does not look like fun.
No way!
When you reach the point where a game can make you so upset to this point, that's when it starts to become unhealthy and changes need to be made. Before you boot up that Nintendo Switch, take a deep breath and remind yourself it's just a game and you don't want to be that guy. It's just not a good look. Number 3. Think positive.
Yeah, baby! You can do it!
Of course, thinking positive is always good in any scenario. Reminding yourself that you can do it can go a long way in helping us win. If we lose, us thinking, well, I did my best, I can learn from it and improve for the next game is healthy and will help curb the salt. But at the same time, thinking positive extends beyond that. When you take a loss and you're feeling salty, you can feel mad. Stop and think of all the things that you do in your life. Think of all the things that other players may also be doing with their lives. You could be playing against kids, you could be playing against adults, you could be playing against amateur players, you could be playing against pro players. Putting it into perspective like that, thinking positive is more than just thinking, I can. For example, look at how many hours you've played Smash in your Switch profile, and then compare it to some of the hours of the people who just destroyed you. This will vary from person to person, but sometimes some people will have put in twice as much time as you have. If someone absolutely destroys you, they simply may be putting in more time into Smash than you could ever wish to put in. When you think about your skill level and how much time you have to practice, think about the friends you hang out with. Think about the sports you do. Think about your other hobbies that you do. Think of all the ways you devote your time and understand that someone else may do none of that and instead just play Smash. If they're happy, good for them. What matters most is if you're happy, and you should appreciate how you live your life. If you lose, whatever. If you're happy with the other things that you do in your life, just think about those things. Number 4. Stop buying into negativity / believing what you see on the internet. This one is mostly for those who are actively looking at Smash memes or participating in Smash communities on apps like Instagram. Smash Ultimate has a huge diverse cast of characters with a wide variety of moves, and some of these moves aren't always well received by the Smash community. One that immediately comes to mind is Ness's PK Fire. A lot of players hate this move, and I'm no stranger to talking about this. The only problem is that this move is not that great, and even if you spam it, it's not very effective, but that doesn't stop the masses from collectively condemning this move to the point that Ness players feel the need to state that they do not spam this move. This has always confused me because if it's a tactic that works, why wouldn't you use it? Because it's annoying? But is it though? A lot of players choose to label moves that they haven't figured out how to beat yet as annoying, trash, or brain-dead playstyles. These memes that float around on the internet only serve to solidify that it is okay to hate on these ways of playing, and instead of thinking of ways to approach these playstyles, we pass them off as, ugh, another spammy Ness player. And when we are pitted against a Ness player and you keep running into their PK Fire, or you are playing a Ganon player and you keep running into their forward smash, or you are playing a King K. Rool player and you keep running into their grabs, you're going to get mad when you lose because that established bias has convinced you that they are the problem and not you. And the real problem is this way of thinking. It will lead to salt. Yes, a lot of these are made tongue-in-cheek and are taken just as what they are, jokes. But to some people, it's just a way of saying, see, everyone thinks this, so it must be true. If you're someone who thinks like that, you have to stop because all this will result in is salt and anger. Number 5. Commit to a best 2 out of 3. This one is one of my personal favorite ways to avoid getting salty. Only do 2 out of 3 and then drop it. Win or lose, that's it. A lot of times we get caught up in this endless loop of frustration.
One more round.
We think we'll learn and eventually win, and sometimes this is the case, but if it's not, you're gonna have a bad time. The more we lose, the more frustrated we get, and trust me, I've been there. I keep playing and playing and playing, hoping, struggling, and straining to learn how to beat this guy, and it's worked sometimes. I'll lose 10 times, and just like that, I'll suddenly start winning. It's a great and amazing feeling, but when I can't pull it off, it's a horrible feeling that has resulted in a ton of salt. So what I did was start only doing best 2 out of 3. Maybe it's not the best way to learn, but for me it was the best way to keep the salt under control. I knew that after the second loss, I could move on to someone else who I could potentially beat. I wouldn't get wrapped up on obsessing over this one particular player, but instead could play a wide variety of players and have a better time. If you want to practice against the same player who is much better than you to learn, go for it. But if it's causing you stress, frustration, and salt, setting some limitations on how long you can play with that person may just be what you need. And finally, my last piece of advice is pretty much just a recap of everything I suggested in this video. Understand yourself and your limitations. Understand and accept that you aren't the best player. Understand and accept that you have much left to grow as a player. Understand and accept that everyone grows and learns at different rates. Some people have the raw natural skill, but not the time to develop it. Some people have all the time in the world to develop skills, but not the raw natural skill to become an EVO champion. Some people have neither the natural skill or the time, and some people have both the natural skill and the time to develop them. You're not always going to know how to counter every character, and you're not always going to know how to play every character like a master. You're not always going to know how to approach a defensive spammy player, and you're not always going to know how to defend against a very aggressive combo master. At any time, you can run into a player who plays a certain way that you don't know how to play against. But what we do know is who we are. So the next time you want to do some Elite Smash matches, ask yourself, am I the person I want to be? Am I someone who just makes excuses instead of getting better? Am I someone who just plays Smash all day? And if not, is it someone that I want to be? Am I someone who wants to make a fool of himself getting mad over a video game? Or am I someone who keeps calm and collected and understands that it's just a video game? And really answer those questions honestly. See yourself for who you are and understand that it could take days, months, or years to reach the same level of skill as some of the people who you will be put up against online. And hopefully, looking at the bigger picture can help put your salt into perspective and help you realize that it's not worth getting mad over. It's good to have drive and motivation, but it's equally important to have perspective. So these are some of the suggestions for how to deal with losses in Smash Brothers. Hopefully it helps you out if you've been dealing with salt. Approach everything with logic before you start the game and be conscious of all your salt curbing methods. I'm Boyo for Heroes of Fandom. Until next time.